Hello, this is Race Q's replay of RCYT Marshall Series race on June 20th. And let's enter the website from the public link. Now we had 3 boats recording in our fleet. However, I'm not sure which boat was actually Karoo. So I'll call them Karoo, and it could be Catfish or it could be Gemini, not sure. I'm just looked at the times and they had about the same elapsed time. So we'll see, but I'll call them Karoo since they recorded as Karoo. Okay, so here we have 3 boats. If we go to Regatta Setup, we could see other clubs, and there we had a lot of boats, as you see, over 20 boats recording. So people in other clubs not afraid to use this RaceQ app. And by the way, to make this app less scary, we all can agree that this app is used for fun only, that this app can be used in protests, and if there are any discrepancies, we'll always say app is wrong, human is right. Okay, so as we see here, this is our club, and here's some Jersey club of Manhattan. So we'll go back to our Class B, and we'll look at race done by our club. I'll zoom out, and what do we see here? We're about 2 minutes before start. We have green 1 minute zone. I'll pause it, and we'll go into setup for the versus, because I see too many tracks. What do we have here? We have 60 minutes of tracks last time, so I guess we could skip it. Maybe make it 30 minutes. Okay, and we have separation and so on. So for now, let's just leave it Karoo and Wind Dancer, because their situation, their duel is more interesting. So what else? On a fleet ranking tab, here I added PHRFs for the boat, again, given information that I have. Maybe it's wrong information. And that information will be used later to calculate adjusted time at the end of the race. I'll show it later. So here on this versus tab, we could compare 2 boats, and here we could turn on the color for the track, separation, wind direction, attack indicators, and wind shadow indicators. And here I'll just pick 2 boats to compare. So it only can compare 2 boats. And now to replay. Let's see the start. I'll start to play. And what do we see here? I'll speed it up. Okay. I'll just slide it forward. To speed up, I have to zoom in. So I'll just push the slider. I do not want to change the settings on the screen. So we see here, Bad Habits is in better situation with 39 seconds. I start replay, 39 seconds before start. And this is 1 minute zone. I started to shrink already, and Bad Habits was able to sneak in behind the outer limits and were not squeezed out by loose cannon as happened in previous race. So Bad Habits started pretty good. Now if we look at Wind Dancer and Karoo, let me just kind of slide it forward. So Bad Habits started, and if we go forward, here at the time when Wind Dancer and Karoo started, they were over 1 minute late to the start. So my guess is they were confused by the flags used by the race committee. Okay. And Bad Habits was only about 14 seconds late. Now, let's take a quick look at the rest of Bad Habits track. To do this, I'll pick them here in versus stack, and I'm not sure if it makes sense to compare Bad Habits to other to Karoo Wind Dancer. So I'll remove this part and we zoom out. So Bad Habits try to be in clear wind, and you could see by the track the speed is pretty good. And we stayed inside of the course. So we'll just continue the stocks. Zoom out. And here I think we should have stayed longer, but we tacked out early, and that cost us 2 extra tacks. So here we should have just stayed. Anyway, so that we lost some time. We rounded R10, and on downwind, if we go this way, we zoom out, you'll see that we sailed not really in a straight line. So again, it, I guess, cost us a little bit of time. However, looking at the Karoo Wind Dancer going same way, or approximately same way, I can guess that this loop is caused by outgoing tide, which goes this way. Okay, and by the way, so here's finish situation, nothing special, but what I also wanted to show that another indication of outgoing tide is here on the tag, and we could see that, let me show maybe 60 minutes of tracks. Now we could see that starboard tags have brighter color, which means the speed was higher. So that, I guess, gives another hint that this way boats were going faster because of the outgoing tide. And again, we know that going faster in speed over ground does not mean that you're actually doing better toward your target, because your VMG may not be as great. In fact, probably going on port tack had better VMG. So now back to the duel between Karoo and Wind Dancer. I'll switch the boats here. Karoo and Wind Dancer. And let me see what we have here. It makes sense to show separation and wind shadow also. It makes it more interesting. So if we go back to the starting situation, we see again that they started kinda late. Sequence, this is like 27 seconds before the start. Anyway, so if we advance, they were over a minute late. They approached starting line on opposite tacks. And here they almost, let me go back. I think it's interesting because it looks like they started almost at the same time, both. They crossed the start line basically together. From the moment the race started, we could see separation, and separation was minimal initially. Then, what do we see? Karoo goes ahead with higher speed. My guess, Wind Dancer was in someone else's bad wind. So they cannot go as high, and they're actually being guessed by someone. Okay, so then they continue basically on the same tag, and they kind of going together. Separation shrinks, and let's see. So far, Karoo ahead, condenser tucked out. And again, so far Karoo ahead. Now what's interesting here is that here in this place Karoo apparently went slightly off wind, got higher speed. What's going on with separation? Separation is increasing. Let's slide forward. However, after the tuck, we see that wind dancer apparently ahead after the tuck. And now wind dancer is a lot ahead. Okay. So what else? We see that wind dancer did very good tuck at the ley line here and went straight for the mark. Meanwhile, Karoo apparently overstood, separation increased. But here, because they overstood, they could actually go faster. So if we speed it up, you see the line is brighter. They're going back to the mark faster. So I guess they will reduce separation. Yes, now separation is 300 meters. Okay, and we continue. Now basically Karoo follows the wind dancer, and separation gradually gets smaller and smaller. Let me zoom in. What's interesting here? Not sure what happens. I guess they jibed the jib on another side. And what did it make any difference? Let's see, I scroll through. Well, it didn't help wind dancer. As we see, separation is increasing. Karoo is continuing on the same tuck. And wind dancer tucked again. Let's see. But Karoo is catching up. And here it looked like, not sure what's going on, this loop. Maybe wind dancer felt the wind shadow of Karoo. They tried to avoid it, but all this extra movement did not help them, and as a result, as we see, Karoo is taking over and they're ahead. As you see, they're going ahead. And even though they've been slightly gassed by wind dancer's shadow, they're going forward and close to finish line. Separation is about 150 meters at the finish line. So that's it. Now, when both boats finished, I'll stop replay and we could look at the final statistics comparing these two boats. So this is PHRF. Again, based on what I understood, I'm not sure which boat Karoo is actually. So now we see that we have actual time, which is kind of close to what race committee sent, not exactly but similar, because again we did not have the whole fleet. And corrected time, corrected based on PHRF, and I'll show later how to pick PHRF handicap. So here we see that wind dancer actually sailed shorter distance with lower speed, and however the RQ index, which is quality of steering, was lower, so the steering wise Karoo was more consistent, and the Karoo had higher average speed over ground, even though they sailed longer distance. And what else? Maximum speed over ground was higher with Karoo, and they did less tuck. So maybe that's one of the factors. But still, the duel went on through the whole race, and only at the last downwind leg it was basically decided in favor of Karoo. And last part, I just wanted to show where I could pick up handicaps. So here, I think when I create start of the race, I could pick up race types. I could say one design, pursuit, and so on, all different kinds of handicaps. I think we used time and distance, so this is what I picked, and that what decided those last stops. So that's it. Thank you very much, and I hope that next race will have more boats recording and it will be more interesting. Or we could even do this replay and analysis after the race in a clubhouse. Thank you, and until next time. Bye.